And Your Honor, it's my understanding that we're here for a violation of probation today.
Yes, we are here for a violation of probation today.
Thank you. I was able to make contact with Mr. Hunter today, who through my office and through several other outlets tried to reach me. We were able to speak. He was not in a place where he could otherwise make it this morning, but he was trying, and the trying part was of the utmost importance, because he obviously got there, which is pretty big, considering he had no ride when I'd spoken with him. So he is taking this seriously. He did want to be there this morning. He called me to tell me that he was having problems. He made me aware of it. He was able to do it. I told him, no matter what, get there. I'm happy he's there today as a result of it. As to the violation of probation itself, Your Honor, I think that Mr. Hunter owns his issues. He owns his mistakes. I understand that there may be a recommendation here for jail. I just am seeing this, my first perspective of who this individual is, having come from elsewhere. I don't have a good rapport, as much as the court might, good or bad, with these individuals. But I would just state that in my very short time of speaking with him, I have hope. So I would ask for some consideration in that regard. The fact that he's here tells me a lot. And I know that might not sound like anything but, glamour.
Ms. McDuffie?
So, Your Honor, this case is obvious. Mr. Hunter, I think, originally violated was the fact that I think he was just MIA for quite some time. He did appear on that original violation. I think that was back in June. He shared with us some difficult situations that he had after he was sentenced, quite a few things that are pretty dramatic in his life. And he was given the opportunity to sort of restart, reset, and pick up and continue these requirements for probation. But when we were here again after that, as of August 31st, somehow, some way, there really hadn't been any progress made. And so that was another difficult hearing for Mr. Hunter, because he, and I will address something that Mr. Bellinger just mentioned. I don't think any of this is about his personal character. I've always noted that Mr. Hunter has been very polite and well-spoken, although he interrupts a lot, but he interrupts a lot to apologize over and over again for the things that he hasn't done. I think the problem is that remains a disconnect with those things still not being done, still no progress made. And so there was a jail recommendation, if I'm not mistaken, back in June. And then when we saw him again in August, did not have any progress. So Mr. Hunter has been aware for the past few hearings that there's a jail recommendation hanging over his head, essentially, for this. And after our last hearing in August, I see that he made some contact with probation, because we have the record of this letter with the assessment and some documentation of 112 set meeting in July of 2021. That might have made things worse, honestly, because he was supposed to be enrolling in those meetings, obviously, now after this sort of reset that he's been provided. That was September 5th. It's now October 5th. I don't know if anything else has been provided to probation within the last 30 days. I would certainly hope that, given the last hearing we had and him knowing that he had to come here today, and I do appreciate that he is there, that he has taken some action on these things to provide some further proofs in the last month. Because if he hasn't, I'm without words for why that would be the case today.
If I may rebut for just a brief moment, Your Honor, I think part of the problem here is that he, in speaking with him, he also had some communication issues, and be it his fault or our fault, I will take the blame for it. I haven't been here. I want an opportunity. I'm asking for an opportunity so that I can help him get where he needs to be. so that I can check in on him, so that I can, I know, and I'm not his mother. I'm just trying to guide him into a place where he can get better, so that he can get off probation successfully without having to be in jail. I'm asking the court for an opportunity here, and it might be too late, but I think that if I can have communication with him the way I had this morning, he will be just fine.
Did you talk to him before or after he called the probation department inquiring about how he should get here since he didn't have a way?
I don't know. I just told him to find a way.
All right. Mr. Hunter, do you know what the recommendation is in this case?
I'm aware of the recommendation on this end.
This would be your opportunity to say something. I see you're ready anyway. Raise your hand.
Yes, ma'am. From what I recall, August 31st was the last time we had an appearance over the Zoom. During that time, I had a different court appointed, and during that time, we weren't able to communicate. I've tried to reach out to that court appointed in the court appointed's office. In regards to what Ms. McDuffie said with the 12-step program, you did give me another opportunity. And since then, I submitted that from my mentor. My mentor just gave me, because previously, before that, I had a lot of things that were going on. I lost homes, I had lost a place to live, things like that. And so I reached out to my mentor because I had lost all my paperwork. I reached out to my mentor, which I thought would be sufficient. I supplied documentation showing that I had previously completed that 12-step program.
You attended one session.
No.
That's the documentation I received.
That I had completed, previous. And so if I need to continue going, that's fine. But that documentation was to show that I had gone before. I don't know what else to supply to show the courts from my mentor that I have, because if you all don't, it should be on the record that I have previously completed those programs where I've been going to 12 steps. So if it's my misunderstanding, I do apologize, and I will be more than happy to continue going henceforth until my probation is over. I just didn't understand that.
All right, before we go any further down this road, first of all, we're still here for the violation of probation today. It's my understanding this is supposed to be a hearing. So, he's still disputing whether he completed those programs or not. So that's the first piece of this. The documentation I have before me is for one particular attendance. That's not completing what he was ordered to do.
Your Honor, I think that what he's trying to say is that he didn't, because it was a miscommunication. He's admitting that he didn't complete it. He's happy to continue the courses if the court would allow him to do so. It was a miscommunication in that he clearly didn't understand it didn't happen. So with regard to his ability to take accountability for it, I think he's saying it. I just don't think he's necessarily saying it in a way that is as comprehensible as it maybe should be.
So the allegations around this particular violation of probation are: one, he failed to provide proof of his 12-step meetings, not one meeting, but meetings. He failed to provide proof of his outpatient treatment, and he failed to alcohol test as ordered. So,
elaborate on it.
Well, first of all, the way this works is you have two options. One, you can hold your hearing, which is what you requested to do last time. We're here for that. Or two, you can admit to the actual violations, and we can move forward from there. Those are the two options. So at this point in time, you and your attorney, probably your attorney, needs to let me know which one you're choosing.
It's my understanding, based off my conversation with him this morning, Your Honor, that he would be admitting to these. And Mr. Hunter, correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I guess that would be the case. However, with explanation that perhaps there has a misunderstanding, but I have been attending, which I submitted documentation. I have been attending the outpatient as well. I had a conversation with my probation officer that I did have some difficulties because of lack of income, where there were some missed appointments, but I have recently been, for the past 3 to 5 weeks, been doing what the court has been requested. So it may not be too, I've been trying to do the best in my opinion.
Please raise your right hand to be sworn, sir. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. So this is the way this is going to work. I'm going to take your admission to these of guilt to the violations. And then once I've done that and we finish placing everything we need to place on the record, you can provide me with whatever explanation you want to provide. Okay?
Yes.
So as to the failing to provide proof of your 12-step meetings, do you acknowledge that you failed to do so, sir?
Yes.
As to your failure to provide proof of your outpatient treatment, do you acknowledge that you failed to do so, sir? As of
what day?
August 31st, had you failed to provide proof of your outpatient treatment program?
I had it submitted by that time, yeah. I have to check my phone for my emails so when I sent that, but it may have been that morning of your outpatient, but I did submit it for the outpatient. I emailed the
Mr. Hunter.
Wait 1 second. You say you emailed your court-appointed attorney?
I emailed the proof of that and I emailed to the probation office as advised by Mr. Willis. I believe he's through the court appointments office. There's been a lot of confusion. I've been switched from different attorneys, so I don't know where that communication.
All right, I don't think we're gonna have a plea in this case.
I understand, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Jarvis actually not present today. Let me ask one more thing. Did you fail the alcohol test that you were ordered to do?
There was an instance where I did fail. The reason being for that is I was between.
Remember what we talked about? I'm gonna ask you the questions.
I'm sorry.
You're gonna answer those and then we'll come back to your explanation afterwards.
Yes,
Okay, so that you failed an alcohol test.
there was, yes.
All right, I'll accept the violations as to fail to provide proof of the 12 steps and fail to alcohol test as ordered. Are you satisfied, Ms. McDuffie?
Yes, Your Honor.
Satisfied, Your Honor.
Now, as to these explanations, you may now tell me all these explanations that you're trying to give me for why you too perplex me, because online you kind of got a smart aleck attitude. You show up here today, you're trying to be as polite as possible because I think the consequences could be very, very strong today. You didn't need to get to this space. So you seem to blame everyone and think other people are responsible for what you need to do. You need to figure this out and be responsible for your own actions. Because the reality is you've been told over and over again what it is that you need to do. So having said that, before I ask him, let me do it properly in order. Mr. Bell, you want to say?
I take it that you asked me if there's anything I want to say on his behalf, Your Honor.
Yes, it is.
It did cut out a little bit. Your Honor, I think I would just echo the words I've already stated. I don't know. This is an individual that's misguided here to some extent, obviously, in that while he's willing to admit, you're right, there are accountability issues. Ultimately, this comes down to him. This is his life. This is his probation. This is no one else's. I think in getting him to understand that he's going to become a better, more functional individual in society, I think that, and I'm hoping that if the court grants him an opportunity to stay out of jail, that he will be able, he'll come to that conclusion. I don't know that is going to happen overnight. I think he and I need to have some conversations. I think that there needs to be things that change, and I'm hoping that we can find some alternatives in order to effectuate those changes so that this doesn't continue to happen, that this doesn't happen again, because the court said it correctly. He's the only one that put himself here. He didn't have to come to this place. So on that, we don't disagree. It's just, where do we go from here?
Ms. McDuffie?
I'm not really sure what exactly the source of this disconnect is, because Mr. Hunter did, in fact, raise the issue last time that he started out with Miss, I believe, Terry Akinruli, or at least he was connected with her at one point. Then he had Mr. Lebo, and I can understand going from one attorney to the next, sure. And obviously he has a new attorney now. But the constant thread throughout all of that is that he has had a direct line to probation because he's been speaking with them and providing information. So I have a much more limited, I think, ability to sympathize with that level of confusion when the source, the ultimate source for what needs to be done and who needs to be receiving that information directly, has been his agent, who he's been in contact with throughout all these attorneys since he reappeared here and restarted this. So I think that is, I'm not really sure why there is this much confusion given that. Something seems to be off. And I'm not saying that in an insulting way towards Mr. Hunter, but something is not connecting with him and his processing of what needs to happen and why and what he needs to be doing to make sure that goes. I don't know what that issue is. I don't know what's going to fix it. I don't know if a couple of days of jail is going to snap him out of anything that might be affecting him or not. Obviously, the recommendation is not for a couple of days, it's for, the full term. I don't know what the answer is, quite frankly, but this is not working. And I don't think that I appreciate Mr. Bellinger trying to fall on that sword and say that he's going to take the responsibility to get him on track.
Well,
I'm not really sure I don't think that's the problem.
If he's saying it's a communication issue, then I want to be able to have an opportunity to communicate with him. So at least that I know, Bellinger, and I don't think that's...
Mr. Bellinger, we kind of take turns with these, so it's my turn now.
No, I thought you were finished. I apologize.
So with that, Your Honor, I don't know that some jail time is completely inappropriate. I realize that seems extreme, but it also seems like I don't know, maybe some brief, extremity might be necessary to get something kickstarted or to go differently here. At the same time, I'm not asking for it. I'm not recommending it. It's obviously leave it to the court. I don't, he's had the direct communication with the source this whole time and it's still not working. So I don't know. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Hunter, it's your turn to say what you need to say before I decide what your sentence is going to be today.
Your Honor, first and foremost, I completely understand that it's up to me to do the due diligence and to do the things that I need to do to get this right. Last time you said you got one more chance and you're going to give me another chance rather. And within my circumstances, and I don't want these things that I'm saying to be rebuttals or to seem like I'm taking it sarcastically, because that's never been the way I've intended my demeanor to be. I have had still trials and tribulations, which I am on the right path now, I believe, and have been trying the best of my abilities due to my own personal circumstances. So by all means, please, I don't want them to seem like they're excuses or I'm not taking ownership of my responsibilities. Since before I hadn't done anything. I hadn't done any outpatient. I hadn't been reporting in a fashion where I'm reporting now. I'm consistently reporting, and there has been a lack of funds. There has been a lot of instances that have affected me to complete this. And I'm not trying to fault this on anyone else but myself. I'm the one who has to take the initiative. I have since for a motor company right now, which, I missed. Like I told you, I was like, I really don't want to come here because I'm going to miss it. And, but this is more important. My livelihood and my freedom is more important than that. Although I do want to maintain my job at Ford. It's the best job I've had in a long time through my trials and tribulations. But I'm continuing to, I tried to reach out. Digress. I'm doing what it is that the courts want me to do. It may not be, 100% to the capacity, but I am trying. I'm trying my hardest within what my circumstances. My circumstances are slowly improving. So I just ask for, you to allow me to keep doing that and keep displaying that. And I appreciate, any consideration that you would express.
So, Mr. Hunter, you're right. We've been through this. I've been talking to you for a while. And I think today, and I might be wrong, but I think today I figured out what your problem has been. You spent that time in Wayne County Jail, and you really wanted to get credit for that and sort of be done with this. Whether you recognize it or not, but subconsciously you have been fighting this process. To fight this process is to your own detriment. Your attitude online with me, I think, is because of that. Because you really want this to be over and done. And I get it. You want to move on with your world. But the reality is that these things that were ordered by Judge Pope, because that's who sentenced you initially, were for a reason. And so to just say I'm going to be missing for all that time, and I did some time somewhere else, just give me credit for that and be done. That it doesn't work that way. You have to. Jail doesn't change you unless you want it to. Change some people because they don't ever want to be back there again and they're just done. When you come out because you're angry because you were there in the first place, all it does is create more problems for you. I could be wrong, but as I was just going through this file to figure out what this is, because you're smart and you can do this, but you've been fighting it the entire time, despite the fact that there's this huge amount of time that's hanging over your head that would severely impact and change your life. You got to deal with that anger issue you got going on inside. You can sit here, you can be nice to me now because you're in my face and I get it, but I think that's really what it is. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I slightly disagree because I don't feel like my demeanor here has always been tried to be projected the same way. So I don't understand why it's deflecting to you that way.
Not right now, it's not. But online it did.
I mean, online, maybe on the 31st because it's maybe because I interrupted, I was interrupting, but it was never meant to be projected that way. But I understand what you mean. And I do understand what you're saying. And I'm going to continue to do my due diligence to get this done and apply pressure to the process.
I mean, you're here in the first place on some very serious charges. That's the problem. If you don't address it now, you will be back here again, and you're not going to get opportunities.
Bad place in my life. When my mother died, that was 5 years ago, September, just last month. That was a bad time in my life. I'm getting out of that place.
You're breaking out?
With help, with my mentor, with working, I found good work for a month. So it's a process. It's forever a process.
It is. You're right. You're right. It is. And, you got a good job. I don't want to be the reason that you put yourself here and I have to send you to jail and ruin that for you. You're at the end of this straw. This is it. You need to get it done. Your attorney's begging for you, because he believes you can get it done and he thinks it's a miscommunication. I think you don't listen. And I think maybe today's the first day you have. Because you think you know a lot. And you do, but you don't know everything. Yeah, you don't know everything. So you gotta listen. You gotta actually hear everything that's being requested of you. And you gotta comply with that. All right, so, Mr. Bellinger, I'm gonna give you that one last opportunity to walk this through with him so he can get it done.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
It's been a very long docket.
I don't disagree.
And, it could be shorter if we didn't take the time we take with people to try to make a real change for them. And hope that these conversations mean something. I'm not taking this time or just giving you a pass because of what your attorney said, but also because I want to try to make a difference for you. That's why you're doing the programming, to try to make a difference for you, whether you see it or not. So I hope you take advantage of this, because after today, after we look each other in the eyes, the next time you won't be going back out that front door. Okay. All right, I'm gonna reinstate your probation. Continue your drug testing. Go to the programs. You say you have a mentor. I don't know if the mentor is someone that is a sponsor too. I don't know, but you need to do those 12-step meetings. You need to figure out what those truly are. It's not one meeting and show up. The Judge Pope ordered you to do wow. It looks like you're supposed to do one time a week. For the extent of this program, probation, it was 12 months. So you need to do 12-step meetings one time a week. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
The term was, I understand now.
Okay. And I don't know, so you say you're in your outpatient, you need to provide some additional documentation around that outpatient to show that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in your outpatient treatment. I'll see you back here on December the 19th, 2023 at 10 a.m. I'll do it on Zoom unless Ms. Stroud thinks she needs to come back in person. Is it December 19th? Is that okay? Okay. If she says that you aren't doing what you're supposed to be and you need to be in person, that's not going to be a good thing. So, she's not gonna tell me that unless it's true. So, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay?
We hope to bring some good news, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A review. All right, you're all set, sir.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.